What are Graham's top tips for potting up plants?
Honestly, it doesn't get any easier.
Adam's adding Hollywood sparkle to the bedroom. Why keep photos on the cloud when they can hang on the wall?
Get them out on display.
And how will Dr. Harry sort out Bert, who's just a little too boisterous?
Here, is this fairly normal?
Pot plants. We've all got one, or maybe 100. They can make a great statement just by themselves or in a group. Maybe you've got a great collection, or possibly you're a beginner and you'd like some tips and ideas. Well, I've got some great tricks for you, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the plants. OK, now, if you're a first-timer with indoor plants, you've got to go for something really simple and easy to grow. Philodendron saloon. Honestly, it doesn't get any easier. Lush, big green, pop it in a pot and it just gets bigger. Full sun, shade, it's just an easy plant to grow. Now, this fellow's had more names, I think maybe 20 names in my lifetime. Now they're calling it epiprimum. Sounds like some sort of medical disease, but anyway, it's a great plant to grow. Now, look, these are growing from pots up one of these little climbing poles, but you could also grow it in a pot elevated on a windowsill and just let it drip down. That's how I've got them at home. Easy, easy to grow. Now, if you've got a bit more shade indoors, then go for something tall and elegant. Look at this pot. It's been given extra elevation because this pot is just so clean and sharp, and then you can bring the pot up and the plant a bit higher. This is Rufus, one of our great palms. This is a bird's nest fern. So a nice little combo that's happening there. Notice that? All the pots are matching, and that's how you really get a great combination. And of course, this is a burgundy rubber tree plant. Doesn't get any easier. Now, while we're sticking with plants for starters, you'd have to go for Monstera. It's a tough plant indoors. And then there's mother-in-law's tongue. That's the variegated mother-in-law's tongue. This one here is a nice little compact, beautiful green and grey form. Now, talking about lush and bushy, this is in fact Strelitzia, but it's Strelitzia nicolai, the bird of paradise. And in a pot, it's fantastic indoors. It's such an easy plant to grow. Now, there's one here that is for mugs. I love it because it's, well, you just can't kill it. It's Zanzibar gem. It looks like it's plastic. No, it's not. Actually, it's real. It's a real plant. Just let it grow and you'll enjoy it for years and years. With pots outside, it's even more critical that you get their shapes and colours really sorted. Now, this Thai handmade pot here beautifully blends with this Bismarckia palm. It really is a nice little combo. But when you match it up with some nice terracotta, you got a nice little combination here happening as well. This is Oriental Pearl, a massive flowers at the moment, compact, no pruning, and just sits like, well, like a cake on the top of a stand. It's just beautiful. But there's even more. Yucca, vertical, actually starting to repeat the narrowness of the pot. So here the narrow upright yucca is continuing the shape, narrow and quite tall, of this pot here. But I really wanted to show you this, a fabulous cloud-pruned juniper. These I've seen in Japan for the last 40 years I've been going there, and they really look stunning. Everybody's got them, and finally they've arrived in Australia. And will you have a look at the glazing on this pot? Shape, colour, drama, and a beautiful cloud-pruned juniper. It's the combination of the plant and the pot for sure. Richard, congratulations. It's a beautiful location. What do you think is driving this interest in potted plants and houseplants?
People are returning, I think, to wanting a lot of nature inside and inside the home. And as we live in smaller spaces surrounded by concrete, it's a reaction to that. And people, I think, enjoy that feeling of nurturing and growing something and having oxygenating plants in their rooms.
Not only are you into plants, but you go all over the world chasing pots.
We've brought together a lovely range of vessels from, Turkey, Morocco, Vietnam, Africa, and I love having different textures, shapes, sizes for people to come in and see. The plant needs to take centre stage, and the pot's really the frame for it to be happy in.
When people get to repotting plants, especially mixing up a little combo, they start to panic. Now, the first thing you often hear me say, use a premium quality potting mix. Well, there it is. And the reason it's so good is that it contains all the goodies that a plant is going to need. For example, it's got a 6-month controlled release fertiliser. All this potting mix here is going to feed your plants for 6 months, and that's what you want. It's also got coir peat. Now, coir is it's a coconut fibre, but it allows good drainage, but also holds moisture with the summer just around the corner. So you've got to have the water crystals there, which will hold the moisture and slowly release it to the plant's root systems. Now, you'll notice my little combo are reasonably succulent plants, which means that what you're putting into a pot as a combo is going to like the same water conditions. Not too much moisture, keep a little bit on the dry side. That's how you pot up. Quality potting mix and beautiful plants in a great container. Right, OK, done. Oh, what do you think, boss?
That's looking terrific. We could give you a job.
Oh, brilliant, excellent. Look, thanks for having us. It's been a real joy to walk around. Lots of ideas, great tips, beautiful plants.
Now, I do love my wife dearly, but it's kind of assumed that once you get married, you get allocated about 10% of the storage space in your bathroom. The rest is used for foundation, nail polish, and whatever that is. With my 2 girls growing up so quickly, the battle for space is only going to get worse. So I've come up with a little project that could be considered family therapy. So the idea is to make a makeup table for that special person in your life where everything can be kept neat, tidy and at hand. It's a great project that you can get done in a weekend. I'm just using some laminated panel that you can pick up from the hardware store. So now I've got all my pieces cut, I'm going to start gluing and nailing this together, and you can see how our top is going to look. This little compartment at the back here will actually have a lid on it, so you can store your little bits and pieces in there. So before I start nailing it, I'm going to mark and install the hinges. I'm using the same ones as you'd find in your kitchen cupboards. Now, they can look difficult to install, but they're very easy. And with this template, it takes all the guesswork out of it. You mark your centre holes, you flip it over and do the same to the other side, and that gives you the exact location of where these 2 parts go. Then the pack comes with a bit, so you can drill your hole and then screw it off. And the tip here is to make sure that you don't drill all the way through. You can see you only need to go the depth of what the hinge is. Otherwise, you'll end up with a big hole on the face of your timber. It's easy as ABC. I can't go any further than that. To close this back section off, I'm going to put another timber through here. But I want this lid to open and close without a handle. So I'm going to put a push to open on before I put this timber in. Otherwise, you won't be able to get to it. Now, I'm just going to run a perimeter around the bottom of the desk, and I'll butt my legs up to that. I'll glue and screw them off, and that's going to make everything nice and strong. To continue with our glamour style, I've gone for a tapered leg. The triangle at the end of a leg helps spread the load and allows us to hide our fixings. That's the main part done. Now I need to make a heap of dividers to keep everything neat and tidy inside. For that, I've just cut up a heap of plywood and I'll be making different size compartments. So that's one down. I've got 2 more to go. There's a range of different finishes I could have used on this desk, but I've decided to go with a wax. It's easy to apply, and also, if you spill something, you can get a stain. It doesn't penetrate into the timber, so you can just sand that stain back and then reapply it. I'm putting it on with some steel wool. That way, as I'm going over it, it's getting rid of the raised grain, and it leaves you with a nice, smooth finish. We're ready to start dressing this makeup table. I'm putting a mirror in. There's some gas struts so this lid doesn't slam on our fingers. And some LED lights for that Hollywood look. I reckon I know a few people that wouldn't mind this makeup table. It would be the perfect accessory in any bedroom. Or these compartments would be great for my screwdriver collection. Fitting right in there. Either way, I'm just happy to be securing some more real estate back in my bathroom. Now, you have to excuse me because I just need to powder my nose. Perfect. We're all guilty of putting off those annoying jobs around the home. And I'm going to show you how to fix some of them in the bathroom. And the best part is, you'll only need a few hand tools. Have you ever replaced the washers in your tap to have it still drip when you turn the water back on? Just like this one here. The first thing I need to do is turn the water back off and open this up to have a look what's going on. That's the tap stripped. Now, if we look at this new washer, we can see that it's already damaged. That means that the base of this tap needs to be smoothed off so the washer has somewhere nice to sit and it won't get damaged. To do that, I'm using a reseating tool. You can see here the teeth at the bottom are going to grind the base and give it that nice smooth surface. You basically just screw it in. Then when you've got the base of it sitting hard down, the important tip here is only to give it around 3 turns. Because it's brass that you're sitting on, it's a soft metal and you don't want to chew too much away. Once we've done that, we can take it out and that will leave us with a nice smooth surface for our new washer to sit on and stop this damage from happening again. The other side isn't as bad, but while you're doing one tap, you may as well do the other. With a cup of water, you can just wash the filings away. Looking nice. That's the washers reseated. Now onto the spindles. You might not know, but if you undo your spindle, there's actually an O-ring in here. So what I'm going to do is wash these down in a bucket of water with some steel wool. And replace the O-ring. When it comes time to put your spindle back in, you just want to make sure that you have it opened up all the way. Otherwise, you'll squash the washer as you're doing it up.
Before the truth will set you free, it'll piss you off before you find the place to be. You're gonna lose the plot before the truth will set you free, it'll piss you off.
So I've turned the mains water back on. I'm just testing the taps. Hot, cold, and look at that, no more drips. That's the taps fixed. For the next job, I look around this bathroom and there's nowhere to hang my towel, so I need to put up a towel rail. But you might be put off by that because you need to drill in the tiles, and rightly so. Let me show you why. Now, this might be a little bit random, me set up on the dining table with a fake wall, but it's to show you what is happening behind your bathroom walls. There is a lot of surfaces behind there that you could hit when you're drilling through your wall. Let's see what happens. Also, when you're going through tiles, you want to make sure that you use a tile bit. That did not feel good. Lucky for me, this is just a mock-up wall. Otherwise, there'll be water everywhere and it would cost thousands to repair. But not anymore, because Sally's has a new adhesive that will bond to loads of different surfaces, including these tiles right here. So what I'm going to do is put 2 blobs on these mounting brackets. And the tip is to make sure you know your location before you put it in place. So I'm lining up with this grout line here and across this grout line there. And the best part is there's no clamping or taping needed because it bonds straight away and it's got 15 minutes playtime or workability. Look at that, no drilling needed. And I think that looks fantastic. And just like that, 2 jobs are ticked off the list, no power tools needed, and you're looking like a real hero.
It's T-shirt weather, definitely the time to get outside and do a little bit of entertaining. Now, who doesn't love a few candles running down the centre of the table? So what I want to show you are some candle holders that are super easy to make. If you're handy like I am, you've probably got a bag of this lying around in the shed. It's quick set cement. Now, to mix it up, I do want to say that you have to wear goggles, you have to have some gloves for your hands, and you do need a mask. Then you can start mixing. If you add Bondcrete to your water, you're going to make it much more durable, so it stops the concrete breaking. So now we can add our water. So just a little bit at a time, a bit like making pancake. Okay, so now all the powder has been soaked. Basically, there's nothing flying into the air, so you can take off your glasses and the mask. And you can see what I've got here is this nice kind of a thick road basey kind of mix. Now, as for the shape, you can literally dig in your recycling bin. You can get some fantastic different shapes. You could do milk cartons, which would give you square candle holders. You could do things like these takeaway tubs or even these round takeaway containers. The important thing to do is to make sure that they're flexible enough to be split when everything is nice and dry. So this is perfect, it's a good shape. To act as a release agent, you will need to line it with a little bit of oil. So I'm using spray oil, very light. And the same again on this tub, you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so now we can start scooping. Kind of makes me think of sandcastle building. It's the same consistency as wet sand. So we're going to pack it in. Helps every now and then if you give it a bit of a tap. That's going to get all of the air bubbles out. So obviously we need somewhere to place the candle. So we need to create a divot in the centre, and that's where this tub comes in. And then just give it a gentle press. Obviously, the deeper you go, the deeper the recess. You will need to leave it overnight, maybe even a couple of days. But the one thing to remember is to use some tape over the top, because as it dries, it kind of wants to push that other container out. So anchor it down. That's it. So to show you what they look like when they're dry, we did some a day or so ago. Ooh, see, that's looking good. On the top, it's quite white. That's the lime that comes out from the cement, but the base, it's that darker grey. That's because it's not fully cured. It's still a little bit damp, but these air bubbles are exactly the look I was after. That says cement to me. It's beautiful. You want to sit that to one side and allow the base to fully dry and cure off. And once you've done that, this is how it looks. Dries this beautiful powdery white. And you can see again, that's the lime that's coming out. It's quite volatile, but we will seal that off with some Bondcrete in a minute. First thing I need to do is put my mask back on, just sand up the top just to clean off these edges. And then with some of the Bondcrete and the water solution, I'll just add a little bit more, mix that in. That will be my sealing solution. So that's the basic idea. Really, all that limits you now is just the shape. So if you've got some old melamine bowls, you could use those. I know I said before that you want to have something that's quite flexible, but if you take it out of the mould before it's fully set, you should be okay. Small round bowl in the top, large round one underneath. Look at that. That's a really lovely, soft shape. I like that one. If you've got anything like this in your recycling bin, you know, the old margarine tubs. If you want something slightly taller, that's where you would use your juice or your milk carton. It's even got the shape from the bottom there. It's It's great, isn't it? All of these beautiful patterns and details. A great little look for your outdoor table. Has anyone seen my keys? Ooh. Make that question a thing of the past by creating a very simple key organising rack, but one that looks good and has a little extra as well. Now for this, I'm just using scraps of timber. Use whatever you have at hand. This is pine. I've already lime washed it, so it'll suit my place. And I've got a backing board, a shelf, and some little bits and bobs too. Now for the keys, you'll need some hooks. Cup hooks are good. You can get them in white, silver, or brass. I've gone for brass. And I've just made 3 little holes underneath the shelf. So these just get screwed in. You can add as many hooks as you have sets of keys. If you've got shopping bags or maybe even a dog lead, you can use one of these. It's kind of like a button knob that you can just screw and attach from the front. Now with the backing board and this piece at right angles, just screw it from behind. Adding some glue will make it stronger. Now you can see it coming together. So we've got a place for our keys, somewhere for the dog lead and tote bags, a little shelf on top. Now for an extra part, you can make a small compartment out of some blocks of timber. And instead of having to screw them all together, because it's so small, you can just use some ordinary glue. And then just to hold it while the glue sets, some masking tape around. You're going to need to leave it a couple of hours to let that glue set, and when it has, you can take away the tape and it's ready to hang. If your walls are a little on the plain side, you might like to add some personality with some artwork or maybe even family photographs. Now you can see the owners here, they've made a bit of a start with a few pictures, but I think we could make more of this wall. So let me show you some tips and tricks to make a gallery wall that's an absolute knockout. Family photographs are such a beautiful thing to show off. To me, it always seems such a shame when they're just put in a drawer where no one gets to enjoy them. So get them out on display. Now, I guess the hardest thing to do is actually decide which ones you want to show off. Now, you could do that in terms of timelines, like when the kids are young, you could group them together like that, or you could create something like a favourite family holiday, but just decide on a theme first of all. What you could do is you could scan your photographs and actually have them printed out into black and white. I quite like this idea because it creates more of a designer look and it allows you to actually cut the photographs. I never like to cut originals. So scan the originals, pop them back into the drawer. That way you can display your actual photographs on the wall. So once you've worked out which ones you want to get up, next thing, grab your scissors and start cutting. There is a bit of a tip. If you actually want to capture a section of the photograph to fit within your frame, make sure that you buy the frames that have the matte board included. Take it out, and when you're cutting, you can arrange it over the section of the photograph that you actually want to feature, and then you can trim away the excess on the outsides. Okay, so now I've chosen all of my pictures, I guess we should talk about the frames themselves. What do you choose? Do you go for a whole bunch that are different style, or do you go for a matching style? Well, I think if you like that more eclectic bohemian look, by all means mix it up. You can have gold frames that go with silver frames and timber. Once they're formed as a group, honestly, it looks fantastic, so it's okay to do that. If you want something slightly more contemporary, choose frames that match. These ones, we've just gone for a slimline black in lots of different shapes and sizes. And remember, when you hang your frames, they can go either portrait or landscape style. It's really up to you. Because this is a gallery wall, you want to play around with your placement before you commit. So the easiest way I find to do it is to actually create a mock-up out of paper templates. So get some brown paper or any scrap that you've got. Newspaper will do just fine. Take your frame and just trace around each of them, and then you can cut them out. And you can work with the paper, and when you're happy, then you can get everything on the wall. For a gallery grouping, you can work within the whole wall or you can work to just one section. There's a few different ways you can lay things out. Now, if you want to work in a fairly straight line and have it quite contemporary and just linear, you can use a spirit level and some safe release masking tape just to form a guideline. Now you can arrange your templates above and below the line. If you like that look, well, that's the way to go. I really love this paper template system because it means you can have a look at how things will work before you commit to actually hanging them. I've gone quite freeform and you can see I've got gaps at the top and also gaps at the bottom, which is fantastic because as your gallery grows, obviously you can keep adding more pictures. Now the next thing to do is to actually choose your picture hanging methods. If you've got gyprock walls, you can use a hook and nail system or you can use picture hanging strips. If your walls are masonry, you will need to get out the drill. I'm going to go for the slightly less damage alternative and use picture hanging strips. How beautiful is this? Such a personal style statement at home, and it reflects everybody who lives here. All of the visitors are going to love it too. I had a lot of fun with the layout, and honestly, you could suit your style with how you do it too. Once you've done a gallery wall like this, you will wonder why you ever had all of those photographs in your phone or in the drawer. Get them out on display for everyone to enjoy.
I'm off to visit a young golden retriever puppy by the name of Bert, whose owner Debbie tells me is doing all the wrong things. Bert is off like a bandit, and his growing rap sheet of offences includes digging ditches, stealing packages and chewing anything he can get away with, including glasses, shoes, even soccer balls. You could say this retriever's a tad out of control. I've got to find out what's really going on. How you going? Good to see you. You must be Deb.
Yeah, I'm Debbie. Hi,
How
nice
are
to
you,
meet
Deb?
you.
All right, we're in. So your main problem is his interaction with the boys, is it?
He loves jumping up on people. He plays rough with the boys. They play rough with him, though, to be fair. I mean, the scratches as well, just when he jumps up, because his claws are big and sharp. And I mean, just yesterday, they both got big scratches on their legs.
You got scratched by Bert, that would have been his nail. So does he ever draw blood?
I have to keep coming back out to separate them because the boys have had enough and Bert still wants to keep playing.
You bought a puppy, might have been 8, 10, 12 weeks of age when you brought it back home. Have you had any regrets since? What's really been the problem?
Yeah, there's definitely been times when I've thought, what have we done? This is not going to be maintainable, ongoing. Yeah.
I think we could fix a lot of it very simply.
Okay.
By basic training techniques, which we're going to learn this afternoon, and keeping hands away. Jackson, come in here, young man. Okay, now, when you're playing with a dog, you need to have your hand that far away from a dog's mouth, because one day, by accident, he might hurt you. He doesn't do it intentionally, he's just doing it to protect himself. There's a whole basket of dog toys out there, particularly the tug toy. That's the type of toy we've got to play with. That's the sort of thing that I want to see happen. I love them to be able to play with the dog without being a little over the top the way they are at the moment. They're just a little bit too full on. We're going to take you and the family and Bert to a dog training club where you will see and learn some basic techniques that you need to put into place. Bert's a big dog, right? He's 8 months old and he's going to do a lot more growing yet. Will you be able to control this dog with young kids coming around to the age of your 2, right? Will we be able to stop the problem of him jumping up on them? That's what I want you to have. So let's watch and see what they get up to, OK?
Sounds good.
Here we go.
Continue walking. Remember to talk to your dogs. Encourage them.
Now, Alex is going to say hello.
Hello. How are you? Yeah. So, hey, we're going to get a bit interested? Yeah, hey? Come on, this way, this way. Yeah. OK. So, come. This way, round here. And sit. Food on the nose. Walking. food nose off the ground. We're following the food now rather than trying to move away. This way. And sit. Yes. Good dog.
You can do that.
This way.
Yep.
You can do that.
Drop.
So that's the basic principles, okay?
Right.
And what I would like you to do is to come down to this club down here to guide you, not just you, but the whole family in the right direction. Well, on that note, it's probably time I left. I want to thank Alex, giving up your time and showing us what to do today. Absolutely fantastic. You are a lovely dog and you have a lovely family. Say goodbye to your brother, wherever he is, probably up a rock by now. I'll get on my way. See you later.